Oh, Uncle Yu definitely left his record collection here from overnight. The record player's going, but that's fine. I'm sure Playhouse members remember Uncle Yu in episode 12. He's our overnight man. He takes care of the Playhouse between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. Automatically, I know these are Uncle Yu's because he loves Cookie Cookie, Lend Me Your Comb. Actually, I know Jerome Luby loves that as well. And Patty Duke, Don't Just Stand There. But we thought real fast, we're going to show you how vintage record players worked. So we're going to show you a record drop with a moving tone arm. Here we go. We're going to let that play throughout the Playhouse. This episode gets carried away. You're in the Playhouse. Welcome to the Playhouse. I'm Uncle Paul, and it's time for our very special hellos. White Fang. Thanks. Hello to Matthew Street, Dave Sudstrom, Brendan Snyder, Beatle Dave and Beatle Brad, Shauna Eve Lee, Jerome Luby, Safe and Sound Texas Audio Excursion, Mrs. Street, Sarah Palmer, Beatle Dustino, Mark Williams, Ron Gilday, Beatle Babe Jennifer, Clifford and Susan, Kelly, first generation fan Mr. Winston O'Boogie, and June. And those are very special hellos for today. Now, if you'd like a very special hello, like you'd like to dedicate one, please leave it in the comments below and we'll say hello in a future episode. Well, we've got something very special in the Playhouse today. And I know I always say that, but it's the Playhouse. Well, in episode 2, feel free to go back and check it out after, of course, you've watched this episode. I talked about my love for my first record player, which was a Steelman. And here I am, around 1973. And it's funny that I think I still have the same pants here. And I promise you, these are not the same pants. I just picked them out because I thought they'd make a nice background. But yeah, the brown corduroy. So here I am with my record player, which again is featured in episode 2 of the Playhouse. And, you know, today records have made a tremendous comeback after falling to the CDs in the 80s. Most people never thought that records would come back. And it's mostly, in my opinion, we do thank the youth for really rediscovering the excitement of a vinyl record. Now, albums, of course, have been more popular in recent years. So just for quick education, because I've met some younger people with respect that they didn't know what a 45 was. Now, so this is a classic 45 on one of my favorite labels, Buddha Records. And this has the hole in it, where again, now it's where it's supposed to, it drops down. And because now when you have modern records, when they release a 7-inch 45, this is a lost art. They don't put the large hole anymore. They have a little hole which matches your, what they call spindle hole, which matches album sizes. So that has ended. But much like lunchboxes, where they started very without any designs or anything, and here's an example, because we're going to talk about how to take care of your records in the vintage days of collecting. So this is just like a lunchbox again, all right? That just a tin plain box, as the workman's lunchbox, where before again they got all popular graphics with TV shows. So this is what you'd carry your records in. And again, just like anything, it got to be more fun for people. And the progression. Now then they moved on. This is very popular, and you still find these all over the place in people's collections or at garage sales. You know, And yes, this was the record carrier that most people, they definitely know and love. The only problem, of course, with a lot of these, I know Playhouse members are thinking this, that if you carried it like this for a long time, this handle, they never changed the material of it, would break off. A lot of times you'll even find these record cases on the secondary market, but the handle's been broken off. But now we're getting to fun ways. I'm going to go in period order. All right, so then, just like again, like lunchboxes, thought, why not we start making record carriers fun? So really needs no explanation, except that the Playhouse is very happy because sometimes you find this with the decal off of it. And again, we're not bragging. We just want to show you the best possible version of an item. So, of course, Dick Clark's American Bandstand, which would be perfect for holding your records. Very similar to the red case that we showed. We moved on as the 50s and the Elvis Presley came about, right? Bobby Darin. So this is one of them. This is a vinyl. Okay, and this is much like lunchboxes also had vinyl. So I found, again, there's a lot of similarities between the lunchbox collecting world, just from the handle. Maybe that's why the Playhouse loves them so much. So the record hop, portraying two teenagers there, Bobby Soxers. It's great. She's actually carrying it, which is funny. She's carrying the record collector on the case. But there's just wonderful, fun graphics. And they're a little embossed even. Now, a totally different way that were very popular, the Ponytail Company, which was known for portraying a teenage Bobby Soxer in a ponytail. Hence the name of the company, Ponytail. And that's how they first were manufacturing things under. Now, these were available, again, plain, but when they started doing these, they became much more popular. And this is what they called a Tune Tote. And again, and you see the Ponytail Company. And again, Ponytail made lunchboxes, scrapbooks, but they were always embossed with a Bobby Soxer, a young teenage girl, in a ponytail. That was the criteria. The girl had to have a ponytail. So the idea, of course, of this is that, and this one's full of Beatle records. Mint ones, we wanted to make sure. Because you want to take them to your friend's house and make it more like fashionable instead of the record case. So this was not, that's why also that a lot of times you'll find valuable records like today that were collectible records, but this is how a lot of picture sleeves got destroyed, because this was obviously not meant for picture sleeves. People were just taking their records out of the precious picture sleeve and putting them in the Tune Tote. That's why, again, you don't get as many picture sleeves. Now, something very funny or unique, that in the 1989 Dennis Quaid movie, and again, when we mention things at the Playhouse, we're not plugging anything or endorsing things. We're just letting you know factual information. And the movie was Great Balls of Fire, the Jerry Lee Lewis story with Winona Ryder and Alec Baldwin. And there's a quick scene at the beginning of the movie, about 15 minutes in, but we're going to show you a little still of that, where one of Winona Ryder's character's friends comes in and she's holding this Tune Tote to make it make the period correct. And as you can see in the picture, so this is a still from the movie Great Balls of Fire from 1989. Now, of course, with anything, now this is what we call a disco case. Now these started plain as well, and again another picture sleeve destroyer, because no time or room for a picture sleeve. You just put your 45, of course, on the hole, let it drop. It really wasn't even too good for the quality of the record, because imagine if you filled this up and so you have like 50 records there, and then you're taking a whole pile out. But they become, again, just a collectible for the shelf, community, and just to put them out. And again, they're very fun. And these were made, by the way, by Charter Industries. And they were in New York City. And these were very popular. They came in all different colors. But of course now, when 1964 arrived and everything changed, the only group or artistry that they ever put on a disco case. And then, of course, in 1964, when the Beatles came, disco cases had the Beatles embossed. Now, the Beatles were the only ones, as far as I know, to have their own disco case. They didn't do it with like every artist of the day. And these were manufactured by Charter Industries of New York City. These were extremely popular. So that's why, again, a lot of the Beatle Precious Picture sleeves didn't make the cut here because you couldn't use them. But they made this disco case, came in 7 different colors. And of course, the Playhouse has 6 out of the 7 colors. And so we got a little maroon here. You can see an olive green, the nice blue, yellow, purple, and the pink. Now, the only color, and everyone knows if you're a serious collector, the dark brown Beatles disco case. Again, we don't like to talk about value, but we'll just say that is the most valuable one. And I think always the reason why something does become more desirable is if you had a choice. And I admit, most likely these probably appeal to the female collector. They weren't going to, like the brown one, deep brown, they were probably thinking, all right, we'll go to the male collector at that point. So these bright colors sold more. So anything times when something didn't sell as much, well, then there's not as much around 60 years later. So that's why the dark brown disco case, if you ever see it in a garage sale, members, pick it up. It's not, I mean, again, we don't talk about that, but we'll just say it can go near the 4 digits to find a really nice disco case. And I am leaving out somewhere in one of these, but we won't open them all up. To have really complete, there was a paper insert. I know Frank, Mr. Sticker Mania, is really into this stuff, and he has a lot of disco cases. But yes, there's a paper, and what makes it even more collectible is if you have, of course, the original hang tag that came from this. But again, people love to collect these. Nice little handle there. In fact, here they became, knowing that Apple, you know, the Beatles company, knew how popular collecting disco cases were. So they made little ornaments, Kurt Adler Company, in 2014 of the disco case. And it's so funny, that's what I said, like, here's the blue one here, and it matches this one kind of there. They didn't use the exact embossment, but these are adorable. All right, now, last on our excursion to record cases, or record carriers, in episode 2, that I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, I was talking about 45s, and many Playhouse members commented on this unique record carrier. And I promised in my comments to responding that I would cover it in a future episode. Now, I don't know who made this, but I know obviously it's professional and that it's vintage. And so we'll see, because there is a company name on it. So the idea was, of course, it makes it really fun. So you still stacked your records, but you stacked your records in 4 parts as much as you want. You could go in any color order. I'll show you this. See, and then you stack you can get about 8 records on each little thing. And this mirrors, all right, it's called a record nest. Record nest, that's right, but it doesn't have any manufacturing company on it. They go 45 record album, but they went through the trouble and the fun. And I always love the little details, is that, you can hear this here, that they made little grooves as if it was a 45 record. So I hope, as I said, I hope I fulfilled my promise to talk about the record nest. And I hope you've enjoyed, again, exploring the world of record carriers. And for now, if I can find it, here we go. The Playhouse is closed. Thanks, Joe Friday.